Okay, stop creating cheap websites that don't work. Creating a WordPress website is easier than you think. Plus, it's more scalable than the other cheaper platforms out there, and there's no need to mention names. We know who that is. See, I'm going to show you exactly how I created my website using WordPress, and it's going to take you about 30 minutes to set it up. And at the end of the video, you can get my guide on my blog as to refer to that as well. So come on, what are you waiting for? Okay, before I get started, please subscribe to my channel now and hit that little bell. See, every week I put out content on this channel to help business owners like you get the most out of your digital marketing efforts. Now, every Tuesday, I put up random tips about money, health, and personal development. And on Thursdays, join me on #Marketing Masterclass, where I dive into the nuts and bolts of digital marketing. All right, hey, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how WordPress really is one of my go-to platforms to develop WordPress sites or websites. I remember the days where I was developing front page 98 sites and GeoCities. Those were the two platforms I started developing websites for. I was working for a nonprofit company and maintaining their website using front page 98. So it was we've come a long ways, and WordPress by far, to me, I keep coming back to this. I've got clients that I've had to have the tough conversations to tell them that it's time to move, and I've had other clients that have been able to fit right in with other scalable platforms that met their needs. But ideally, what I would suggest, depending on your type of business, here's a couple of things I want to talk about that is going to make WordPress something you really want to consider in developing your platform or developing your website in. So number one, it's more scalable because of plugins. WordPress has thousands of people developing plugins for their websites. And the reason they develop these plugins is that it gives that website the ability to be more functional in many, many different ways, because there's a lot of different things that you can implement for your website. You just got to go find the plugin. The other thing is that WordPress is built for SEO. It's a content management system, and it does a really good job of handling your content and being able to separate that, making it very, very scalable to put in thousands and thousands of content pages into the site, as well as having that rank in Google. Google does a really good job of ranking the WordPress sites. Another thing that I like is if we do develop a website for my clients, I end up being the guy who helps manage that. But if I run into any issues where I need development, I need some guy to help me develop some more complex pages and get into that, I can find thousands of guys to come help me out on a cheap basis. I mean, the software development in WordPress is not very expensive. You can find easy and affordable help. You might need someone like me that will work with those people, because there's 1,000 freelancers out there, maybe in the hundreds of thousands of freelancers out there right now that work with WordPress sites. So we can find anything that you want to have develop on this website. Yeah, like I said, the other thing cool, it has 1,000 integrations. I mean, you can make that thing connect to very popular platforms out there. So outside of a plugin, you can actually have it develop to some very sophisticated email software, calling software, anything that's trackable. You name it. A lot of the integrations out there are built first and foremost for WordPress sites. So I really hope that this gives you at least a consideration of what and how to develop a WordPress site. Even if you just want to build one that's just a small footprint of your site so that later you can build out to it. Again, the worst conversation I can have with a client is that I've got to tell them, guys, we need to move your site. and that's going to take a ton of work. And so not only is that going to fall on your hands, or if not, you're going to have to pay someone to do it. So I really would highly encourage you to follow my next steps here. We can get you a WordPress site set up in about 30 minutes. Follow some of these things, at least understand what the steps are. If you need help, I'm always here to help. But if you understand what the steps are, this is exactly what we do to develop and create our WordPress sites for our clients. And so I hope this makes sense. And again, if you got any questions, I'm here for your help. Right, everybody here. I'm here on GoDaddy's website because that's somebody who I use right now to register all my domains. And so just go to GoDaddy.com, type that into the bar. Once you come on one of their pages, it's really simple. What we'll need to do, and first I'm assuming that you don't have a domain, but we're going to also show you some steps here where if you do have a domain, I can kind of show you how you can transfer that. And that's fairly simple. But let's just say we're gonna type in let's just call this Tabasco.com, Tabasco Industries. All right, just something crazy. And we're just going to have them look it up. So let's just say that we find a Tabasco industry site here. So in order for us to get that, we got to buy this. And I'll kind of explain a little bit about what the pricing is here on GoDaddy. GoDaddy is going to give you a good deal in your first year, 2 years, and then that's just to get you into the registration part of their the sequencing on their pricing. Really what it is just it's a good incentive to start and buy the domain name, and then after that you can go in and you'll see how that factors out after you've bought that for a certain number of years. Sometimes it's a good idea if you are maybe getting a vanity URL, which is basically a marketing URL, so it's probably not your main website. So let's say you're Tabasco and your main URL is Tabasco.com. Tabasco Industries may be a URL that you're sending out on specific print, and you want it to be just something separate from your main URL. So there's a lot of different marketing reasons why you would have a vanity URL. But let's just say that this is going to be one that you want to buy, and you're not sure how long you want to save that. So let's say I would suggest that if you're going to have that for as a vanity URL and you're only doing this for testing, go ahead and get the small option, the year or 2 years. But if you think this is something that's going to be your permanent domain, go for a larger package. You'll get a better deal. So you have a lot of options. It's pretty easy to walk through, and I'm just going to kind of show you how I would buy this type of domain. So I have a TabascoIndustries.com. I'm not going to add any of I know for sure what I want is .com, and it's available. So I'm going to go and add that to the cart. And very simple. When you go to cart checkout, it's going to give you several options, some that I'm going to walk through. Privacy protection is important if you want your privacy to be, your information, because it's going to ask you to register who is the owner, who's the administrator, who is the technical person in charge. It's going to display that for people who are searching your domain, and they're going to be able to find that information. And lots of times, sorry to say, but they'll spam you, and they will call you and contact you in order to help you. I get that all the time when I buy them if I don't get this privacy protection added in. So I would recommend privacy protection. And the ultimate protection here, you also just find out a little bit more in the details. This hides your personal information from that who is directory, domain ownership protection, and protects your domain with automatic malware scanning. Very important. This is irregardless of whether you have a WordPress site or not. This is, again, just domain registration. I wouldn't check bar here to start your website for free. What GoDaddy has is a platform to develop their own website. If you want to add a WordPress site, you can do that separately. You can also add, an email address to that. Again, if you don't want that, that's great, but you could have a TabascoIndustries.com email, and you can, again, have the option to do that, and it gives you some packaging pricing on that as well. So let's just say we want let's just say I'm going to go with ultimate protection. Okay. And this is a $14.99 domain per year. So it's really inexpensive. So I'm going to continue. And let's see. So I've got options here. I've got, again, I told you that it give you some options at the very beginning. see where you can pick a 1 year to 10-year option to register that domain. So you have the choice of doing that here. It's going to also separate the pricing of anything additional. Like I said, there's no other options that I find when we first want to just register a domain. And look, for $62, you can have this registered for 2 years with ultimate domain protection. That's not bad, guys. So I really suggest, this is really it. After that, you just go right into the billing and payment information and you complete it. Again, make sure that you have a GoDaddy account. You'll need to create that so that if you are working with another person, so let's say you wanted to hire me to come in and help, well, all I would need to do is just understand that you are the owner of that domain. Lots of business owners miss this step. They forget to be the owner. They've actually had an agency buy the URL, and now the agency owns that. They're the registered users of that URL. You want to make sure that you are the registered user. So in this case, this is just a really simple way to do it. Just go out to GoDaddy, follow these steps, and you'll have it set up. Okay? So what we need to do now in this next phase is just go right back into GoDaddy. You've already had your domain registered. So now what we need to do is pick, also, I think we've got a WordPress, so we need to pick a WordPress plan for your domain. So I have right now, this is my personal GoDaddy account. You'll see your name up here. If you click down on the name, I would go straight into products. And when they pull up a product page, you're going to see a list of your available URLs. And I have some that I manage. And one of them, so let's just take a shot at some of these because there's some that I just bought for one of my clients. And let's just say, so this one here, Lone Star School Security, let's set that up. And you'll want to click the setup button and go straight to build a website. And on this screen, it's going to ask you some questions about what type of site it's going to be. Pick a site that's going to work for your business. So more than likely, let's say it's a business site. So let's just click that to make sure it's there. And right here, it's going to give you several options. My recommendation for most business websites is to have the I need a web hosting plan here. So choose that because it's going to have hosting included. And then the web hosting here, you have several options. It really just depends on the business. I think for the best bet, Ultimate is really, really well performing because of the SSL certificates. It's a requirement now for ranking and for SEO. Plus, you're going to have a few extra deluxe features in there and a premium DNS that's available. That's for free, where you get to pick a premium URL. So just think of that option. Sometimes you can go in reverse and get the web hosting first. So in this case, if you pick Ultimate and you click to buy, it's going to give you some options where in the checkout pane, it's going to give you some options here where you get to, you just complete the purchase here for 36 months or however much. Maybe it's just 12 months. So it ends up with that. And that's it. So it's really not anything hard in terms of getting the hosting plan. And again, you have different ones to choose from. So if you wanted to have a managed WordPress, that's a little bit different. Like I said, depending on the business, I would choose the full web hosting plan. Okay. I want to show you how GoDaddy will actually look after you've installed the web hosting. So you'll go back to GoDaddy, find your account, go into Manage Hosting. If you click on Manage Hosting, it's really simple to look for in your own interface. So you can actually have your own ability to kind of look at this page. This is one that's created through Manage WordPress, and Manage WordPress is one of the other options you can have for your hosting. So I've created that for a couple of my other websites here, but right here you can go straight into the edit site. So if you click edit, it'll actually open the WordPress site itself, and it'll open it into a new tab. So it's really simple to use, a very simple interface. It also gives the ability to check status of your sites. This isn't very important. The staging is mostly for development in case you wanted to change your website out, and you can have a staging area to look at that and then actually make it launch. That's nothing very important to have, but it's something you can upgrade to in case you want to, you want to be playing with the look of your site. So anyways, hopefully that was important and a good part to here to add in terms of how GoDaddy manages the hosting. are in the plugin section of WordPress. And what I wanted to stress here is just a few plugins that I find are important for every WordPress site to have, all the ones that I set up. Number one, we always want to find some analytics that we can plug in. So I use the Google Analytics dashboard for WP. So it's GADWP. You can find that in the plugin section. I also use Messenger Customer Chat. That's where you're able to use Facebook as a messenger, and you'll see that as an option where people can interact and pull you up through Facebook. It's also a great way to catch their information as far as who's logging into your site, and you're able to have that and save that into your CRM. Security is also very important. That also provides, best activity auditing and site check, remote malware scanning, things like that. That's something that's really important to have. Aside from all the Thrive options here, the last one that's very important is to have the Yoast SEO Premium. Yoast SEO is going to be able to give you on-screen tutoring, giving you on-screen tutorials about how to actually, when you're creating your content, are you putting enough emphasis on SEO and how that's going to rank when you put that out, that content that you're putting out. But if just to give you an overview too, just to see how this looks, this is kind of the world of plugins. If you wanted to add a new plugin, it's basically going to give you first a screen that has featured, popular, recommended, and favorites. You can also go back into here and start doing a search and finding the one you want. But there's a ton of plugins. A lot of them, that are ranked in terms of popularity, different uses. You'll see that, like I said, here's Yoast is very, very important. Contact Form 7, I've used that before, but Thrive takes care of a lot of that. And like I said, it's just a plethora of plugins because these are really necessary based on, again, the thing that you want for your site. So I find it very important to have some of these plugins put into your website. So the ones that I recommend, jot those down, go back to the video and look through and see if you like those. But those are some of the video plugins or some of the options for WordPress that I would recommend. Okay, guys, this brings me to my last step where I want to talk a little bit about having a maintenance program for your website. Look, some of the other websites, again, out there have platforms that, have checkpoints for this not to be an issue. Your WordPress site is going to be a little bit different. You are going to need to make sure it's maintained. Plugins have to be updated almost weekly. And in other cases, you need to have backups for your website in case one of the plugins breaks the website, which is possible to do. And you'll need to revert back to a saved version of that site so you can have it up and going. Not hard to do. I mean, you can get guys like me to come and help you. It's just to have a small, simple setup program that it's very easy to set up, install. But we do things like have security checks. It checks your broken links. Has uptime, availability to have everything on an uptime basis. So in case your website gets broken, we can have that up and running within hours, maybe within minutes. Just depends on how quick we get the call in. Right, and so we just want to make sure that we have something like that in place with your WordPress site. That's the only thing I ask in that last step, is to consider how you're going to have someone help you with a performance or a maintenance program. Okay. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video today and getting to the end. I hope this brought you some value, and if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, and if not, you can give me a thumbs down, just so I know what my viewers like and what I'll be presenting in the future. So please don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget there's more content on the way next Tuesday and Thursday. Please share this to someone you think you could use it, and thanks again for watching. And I'll see you on the next video. Take care.